Okay, so starting in chapter 27 of Gardens of Water, Sinon is still staying in the camp with his family, and he's becoming very unmotivated, and one day he won't even get up for prayer, which is kind of unheard of. And Nullifer thinks that it's maybe time that they leave the camp, and she's really unhappy with the way Sinon is acting. And then Sinon's aunt writes him a letter telling him that she has a place for them to live. And although Nullifer was very angry with Sinon, she's really happy about this news. And after getting this news, Sinon's so grateful that he prays. And he also has like this flashback, thinks of his dad. So.
And in chapter 28, Iram and Dylan talk, and she tells him about the man who like assaulted her, Kemal, and he's very upset about it. But she tells him that he can't do anything about it because people might talk, and so they walk through the camp together, and they pass Kemal, and it's sort of like a silent challenge to him.
In chapter 29, Sinon sees Kemal outside the mosque, and Kemal warns Sinon that Dylan's like a Satanist and like not a good influence on his daughter. And then Kemal also tells Sinon that people are talking about his family.
And in chapter 30, Iram and Dylan are walking through camp a couple days later when a rock is thrown at her and she blacks out.
Okay. In chapter 31, Sinon sees Dylan and Iram like are spending time together, and strangely he doesn't mind it that much. And like as he's seeing them, like he realizes that Iram is hurt, so he like runs over and he has Ishmael run to get Marcus and a doctor, and they realize it's because Iram was like hit with the rock, and Nullifer is really angry, and then Sinon asks Dylan to leave. And Iram's parents are embarrassed that this happened, but they also do feel bad for her. And Sinon asks Marcus to keep Dylan away from Iram, and then at the end of the chapter, Sinon's hired at a new job, which is the Carrefour.
In chapter 32, Sinon begins his new job, and he feels like a new sense of purpose. And meanwhile, at the camp, Iram is forced to stay away from Dylan and stay with her mom all day. And then Sinon and Iram talk, and he apologizes for basically choosing Ishmael over Iram after the earthquake because he feels guilty about it because he wasn't thinking about when he was making those decisions.
In chapter 33, one day when Sinon's at work and Nullifer is gone, Dylan and Iram take a bus to Katakoi, and then there they hang out at a bar and walk through the streets and the shops. And Dylan like wants to be more romantic with Iram, but she's like really afraid because of what people will think of them.
In chapter 34, after he gets off of work, Sinon goes to a train station, and he looks at the ticket prices for to get back to his home country, but he sees they're far more expensive than he thought, and so he has like a new desire to work even more and make enough money to get his family out of the camp quickly.
In chapter 35, Dylan and Iram are still in Katakoi, and Dylan takes Iram to a church, and they pretend to get married.
In chapter 36, Sinon takes the bus home, and he thinks he sees Dylan and Iram together, but they pass too quickly, and he reflects on how much money it will take to get his family out of Turkey, and what a challenge it'll be.
In chapter 37, Nullifer is really angry that she discovers Iram has Dylan's music player. She's also really upset because people are talking about their family. And Sinon talks to Iram again and feels bad for her, but also forbids her from seeing Dylan. And then Sinon, at the end of the chapter, asks his boss for an advance in his pay, but the boss just can't do it, but gives him, like, a little something.
And in chapter 38, Nilüfer and makes Iram stay with her all day, and they do chores together, but she's very like mean and almost abusive to her. And then at the end, Iram like cuts herself slightly because of her mom's words, just so she can feel a bit better.
In chapter 39, Marcus visits Sinan at work to tell Sinan that one of Ishmael's friends died, and the father of that boy starts fighting some of the Americans at the funeral because he thinks they caused his son's death. Then Sinan has to calm him down. And in general, a lot of the people in the American camps are like losing hope and becoming more angry and bitter towards the Americans.